Modern American Canasta is here to talk about sevens, aces, and what is the signaling that we hear about. Sevens and aces are overriding defensive strategy of keeping 2 sevens in hand and no more, and 2 aces in hand if they weren't melded with wild cards, or if there's not a mixed ace meld by either team. Here you see a picture of 6 sevens. If you keep 2 sevens in hand, the other team, if that 6 sevens was their meld, they will never be able to close a pure canasta of sevens. The same thing applies with aces if they weren't melded with wild cards by either team. So that is the understanding and reasoning why you keep up to 2 sevens in your hand. If you have 1, you keep 1. If you have 2, you keep 2. You don't keep more than 2 of these because if you have 3 or more sevens or aces at the end of the round, there is a 1,500 point penalty per player for these cards. So you want to keep 2, and that would prevent the other team from being able to close these really valuable pure canastas. The way you also do this is you count sevens and aces in the pile. So we strongly advise that you keep count of aces and sevens. Find a method that works for you. We discussed when we did a strategy Zoom different ways. Mentally note each one added, and remember to restart each time the pack is picked. How do you work with your partner when you can't talk to them to let them know that you're holding those sevens or aces in your hand? You only have a very limited amount of space on your rack for cards. And we don't mean physically, we just mean in general, until you open, you only have 13 cards and you picked your 14th. So sometimes you want to get rid of sevens and aces to have valuable real estate of other cards to be able to open or pick the pack. By one partner on the team keeping 2 sevens and 2 aces, the other partner can pick other cards. So signaling is a strategy, and we say this loosely because it's a strategy. It doesn't necessarily always work, but it's a strategy used by some teammates to inform their partner. If they put an ace down, they have 2 aces. If they discard a 7, not down. If they discard an ace, they have 2 aces in hand. If they discard a 7, they have 2 sevens in hand. They're letting their partner know that they are holding these 2 cards that we just discussed before that would prevent the other team from getting that valuable canasta. So this lets their partner know that they don't need to keep those cards in hand. If both partners agree in advance that they're going to practice signaling, they assume when their partner discards one of these that they have a pair of these cards in their hand. This is something you should discuss before the deal. Once the game starts, there is no discussion. There are situations, however, that you might give a false signal to your partner, or your partner might give a false signal to you, meaning they're discarding an ace or a 7, but they don't have 2 of these cards in hand. So it's important to kind of recognize what are false signals. So when a player first opens, and the team hasn't opened yet, and the player's opening, and they have, let's say, there are 14 cards in hand, and they have to use 11 of them or 12 of them. If they have minimal cards left, they might use a 7 or an ace as a discard so they can get more cards in the talon to be able to pick the pack later. And there's consideration strategy-wise about this of whether they would do that. If there's a lot of 7s in the pack, you never want to throw the 5th 7 because then somebody could pick the pack and close a 7's canasta. So there's considerations of when they would do this, but if someone's opening and they put a 7 as their discard, that might be a false signal. They might not have 2 in hand. Other times they might give a false signal as if they're going for a special hand. If they are protecting a really large pack and they're putting a 7 down as a safe discard because they know there's not a lot of 7s in there, so they're discouraging the competitor from picking the pack. Or maybe it's towards the end of the round and they don't think their competitor has been counting. So they know the competitor will get stuck with 7s and they're putting it down trying to bait them. The bots on Real Canasta are programmed to play exactly this way. They signal, but they also follow these above exceptions, which might be a false signal. So if you're playing against bots or you're playing with a bot, this is good information to know that yes, they're programmed to signal, but just like a regular player, they are known to do false signals as well. So signaling could be a helpful strategy, but it is not scientific. It helps sometimes. So we hope that this helped clear up some confusion about signaling. We are your Canasta hotline. Somebody asked for this video and we made it. What else would you like to hear about? Our book, Modern American Canasta, The Complete Guide, is available on Amazon and modernamericancanasta.com. We invite you to stay connected. We are so excited to hear from players how much they learn to play from our book, and they are loving the game and improving their strategy. Join us on our Facebook group, Modern American Canasta, where you could post rules, strategy, and more, or you could email us to stay connected, modernamericancanasta@gmail.com. You could find us on Instagram, also at modernamericancanasta.com, and that's also our YouTube channel. Be sure to include the @ symbol. We invite you to subscribe and stay tuned for upcoming videos and live streams. Let us know what you'd like next. We had players tell us that they really want another live game demonstration on Real Canasta, and other people had asked for more strategy videos. So let us know what you'd like to see next, and we hope that you get all the cards in hand that you need.